This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The Prime Minister and Finance Minister outlining a VAT holiday next month for hurricane season prep. Fort Charlotte MP Mark Humes calling for respect from the Prime Minister as he was unceremoniously dumped by the party, the FNM. And we continue with our Labor Week series. Today we are talking with the heads of the two umbrella unions in the country on this eve of Labor Day. Sir Randall Fox Labor Day. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Fort Charlotte MP Mark Humes calling on Prime Minister Dr. Hubert to show him some respect in the House of Assembly yesterday after the Prime Minister referred to the FNM candidate Dromiko Archer as the next Member of Parliament for Fort Charlotte. Humes, who is an FNM MP, said he was unceremoniously dumped by the party when Archer was nominated as the FNM's candidate in April. He said in Parliament, quote, "I think it's quite disrespectful that I, the current Member of Parliament, the duly elected and unceremoniously deselected MP, sits here. I think it's quite disrespectful that my party would refer to him as the next Member of Parliament. There's no guarantee that people still have a say in that matter." The Prime Minister later said he did not mean any disrespect to Humes. For the first time since value-added tax was rolled out, the government will introduce a VAT holiday in July to allow for hurricane preparations. Minister speaking in the House yesterday saying the administration introduced legislation that permitted the Minister of Finance to provide VAT holidays up to 2 times per year for up to 30 days for specific reasons. He says the hurricane season, which began on June 1st and lasts through November 30th, and for the first time, they'll undertake a VAT holiday for hurricane preparations during the month of July. Prime Minister also advising that for the second year, there will be a back-to-school VAT holiday ahead of the new school year later this year. And roughly a dozen student nurses demonstrating outside the House of Assembly, questioning why they are being denied permission to start their nursing practice and practicals at Princess Margaret Hospital. Despite the rain yesterday, they stood in Rawson Square and held placards. One reading, quote, "Why import nurses? We're right here." Another one saying, "Free the nursing students." In a statement, the Public Hospitals Authority saying yesterday that in keeping with COVID-related protocols, it implemented measures in March 2020 to ensure the safety of all individuals entering its institutions and agencies. It says that these protocols also govern the facilitation of the authority's clinical services and training programs. It says against that backdrop, it was decided that students from the University of the West Indies and the University of the Bahamas would be unable to access the clinical environment at their institutions. Meanwhile, a meeting is scheduled for this week. Overseas from Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's opponents today pushing for a quick parliament vote to formally end his lengthy rule, hoping to end and to head off any last-minute attempts by the premier to derail their newly announced coalition government. The latest political maneuvering began just hours after the opposition leader and his main coalition partner declared they had reached a deal to form a new government and muster a majority in the 120-member parliament. The coalition consists of 8 parties from across the political spectrum, with the shared goal of toppling Netanyahu after a record-setting 12 years in power. The alliance includes hardliners previously allied with Netanyahu, as well as center-left parties, and even an Arab faction, the first in Israeli politics. Netanyahu today lashing out at his foes, signaling that he will continue to exert pressure on former ideological allies who joined this new coalition. The anti-Netanyahu bloc announcing the coalition deal just before a deadline at midnight Wednesday. The agreement triggered a complex process that is likely to stretch over the next few weeks. In sports, Bahamian professional basketball player DeAndre Ayton and his team, the Phoenix Suns, showing no fear against the defending champions Los Angeles Lakers Tuesday night in the NBA as they went on to rout them 115-85 in Game 5 of their first-round series. The win puts the Suns up 3-2 ahead of the big Game 6 set for tonight. More from the NBA. The Mavericks beating the Clippers, the LA Clippers last night, 105-100 in their Game 5. The Atlanta Hawks into the second round as they beat the Knicks 103-89 last night. They're going to play top-seeded Philadelphia in its first appearance in the Eastern Conference semifinals since 2016. Philadelphia, even without Joel Embiid winning last night, $129-112. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got building high pressure that's going to continue to gradually usher in drier conditions along with moderate to fresh winds around the country through tonight. Boaters and residents should continue to remain alert for water spout activity, even tornado activity, and beachgoers should exercise caution along East Coast beaches due to the risk of rip currents. There remains a flooding risk during prolonged rainfall and rainfall events in low-lying and flood-prone areas. For all areas today, your forecast calls for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with widely scattered showers and the chance of a few isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect for the central and southeastern islands. Winds east to southeast at 15 knots in the northwest Bahamas, easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeastern islands. Seas 3 to 5 feet in the northwest Bahamas, 4 to 6 feet in the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperature-wise, we're looking at highs getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. It's time for a break, but when we come back, we are discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne Gardner, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. How are things up in Freeport, Grand Bahama?
Rainy.
So just like here. Just like here. Oh, my. All right. Well, they say it's going to dry up a little bit as we head into the holiday weekend. So hopefully that'll be something.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So that's great stuff there. All right. We have a lot to get to this morning. And you can join the conversation as well on Twitter. Tweet us at MorningBlend969. Follow us, please. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/morningblend969. You can message us there. Email us, morningblend@nascar.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC, 422-GR96, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic, and then later in our show, in our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with, we'll start a conversation that's going to lead right into Morning Blend business as well. continue with our Labor Week series, our annual series every year. This time we do that, and we are talking with both of them, the heads of the NCTU and the TUC. They'll both be here. They'll be talking about labor issues in the country and what we can expect for Labor Day. It's Randall Fox Labor Day tomorrow. Will there be a parade? We'll find out. We'll get the details coming up this morning. But right now it's time to talk about what's in the news.
Wake up.
There we go. Everything's already in holiday mode, so that's what's happening there. Yeah. All right. So, big headline: the National Guardian, F&M MP calls on the Prime Minister to show him some respect. Mark Humes. We're going to get to that in a bit. Laverne, I don't know if you saw that or heard about that or got that information there, but that
Yeah,
was
I saw it.
yeah, boy, I tell you. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a bit. Now, let's talk about the budget debate, which kicked off yesterday. In fact, that comment that sparked all of that came during the budget debate. The Minister of Finance, Prime Minister Dr. Jimenez, speaking, giving some details about what we can expect during this fiscal year. And is this the highlight of it, the VAT holiday for hurricane season prep? Oh, maybe. One of the things, I guess. So that's what he's saying. And he also took some swipes at the PLP, as usual. That's what we do here. You swipe at each other. When there's a lack of substance, you definitely got to swipe at people. But take a listen to this report.
Distraction.
Huh? Well, yeah, sure, I guess. I guess, yes. Take a listen to this report from our Jasmine Brown.
For the first time, we will undertake a VAT holiday for hurricane preparations. And this will be during the month of July. This will assist Bahamians and residents to enjoy VAT-free shopping on a range of critical hurricane supplies and equipment.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announcing these tax breaks in the House of Assembly as he led debate on the new budget. Dr. Minnis said the Ministry of Finance will provide the details of the dates and the items to be included for that VAT-free shopping. As it relates to back-to-school VAT holiday, it will happen again in August. This VAT holiday was first introduced in 2020.
He then introduced the back-to-school VAT holiday last August. And this provided Bahamian households with VAT-free shopping on a range of school supplies as they got their children ready for the new academic year.
The Prime Minister also announcing funding support and consultancy assistance for Bahamians entering the vacation homes rental market, which he said is booming. The PM said in March 2021, some 4,222 Bahamians and residents participated in this market, earning more than $14 million that month. During his 2-hour contribution, Minnis also lashed out at the opposition and its, quote, jokey claim that his administration had no plan or new ideas to grow the economy.
The PLP desperately want to get back, as people would say. What was that? The cookie jar? At the cookie jar, I guess. But every Bahamian child knows Cookie Monster on Sesame Street. Like Cookie Monster, PLP has the history of raiding what? The cookie jar. Oh. They are very greedy for cookies. They seem every time they get a chance, they attack the cookie jar without mercy. Every time Cookie Monster sees some cookies, he can't help himself.
Reporting for Guardian News Network.
All right, that's our Jasmine Brown with that report there. So, Laverne, you think that was the highlight of it there, the VAT holiday and Cookie Monster? That's all. That's all we get. That's all we get for this one.
Apparently. I don't know if I'd call it a highlight, more like a low light, eh?
Oh, dear. Well, if that's any indication of what this debate is going to be like.
Right,
Well, at least
and the whole cookie analogy thing that just didn't flow maybe the way that they thought it would come off. At this point, we're not interested in all of that. Let's get into this budget, bring us some substance, let us know how much more hundreds of billions that our grandchildren, great-grandchildren are going to be in debt and having to pay. Because quite frankly, there is no cookie job.
Oh, wow.
We mortgaged it.
Yeah. Some monster ate the jar too.
Right.
Yeah.
There are no cookies. There are no cookie jars. We don't even have an oven to bake cookies.
Oh, we've had to borrow the cookies.
Right.
Borrow all the
it's
cookies.
not even our cookies.
No.
We borrowed the cookies. We signed some agreement.
Mm-hmm. My goodness. Okay, so well, there you go. That's we got a little more substance, I suspect, from the shadow minister of finance. That's the MP for Exuma and Ragged Island, Chester Cooper. This is what he had to say in this report from our Kyle Joaquin.
Meanwhile, we still have people living in cars without enough food. This administration brags about its stewardship. The incompetent response of Dorian and COVID has left the country worse off. No, we didn't have to be this bad. But Mr. Speaker, this fairy tale must end.
The PLP deputy leader accused the Minister administration of living in a fairy tale, making inaccurate projections and painting a picture to the country that is not realistic.
And you won't meet your target now with this Alice in Wonderland budget because it's an election budget. And you will spend all of what is budgeted and more, I predict, in your delusional attempt to cling on to power.
Calling it ostrich economics, Cooper then pointed to the country's deficit, saying the government is playing games while the country is in a precarious position. Cooper says the Bahamas has a crisis nearing, where the country's borrowing is at staggering and unsustainable levels.
We are getting to a point of no return. And a new administration will have to look under every rock and make some tough choices early on to stabilize the situation.
Cooper also pointing to the government's handling of the pandemic, highlighting no provision for retesting and numerous restrictions.
What you did was to squander two golden opportunities to show leadership, to show strength, and to bring the country together. But every time you sowed division, you sowed disunity, and you blew it. You failed us.
Then there was the word transit, a term Cooper says the FNM campaigned heavily on, but failed to practice while in office.
We have no report to date on the donations for Dorian. And the people of Abaco, the people of Grand Bahama are still asking where the Dorian hurricane money gone.
Reporting for The Guardian News.
Okay, that's our Kyle Joaquin there. I don't know what's happening with the tags on these reports. Okay, so, a bit more substance there as we expected. And some key things that Chester Cooper says, right? The next administration is going to have to make some tough decisions. Tough decisions, right? And we've known that for a while, and we've expected that for a long time, that the year after that election, whenever it's called by the almighty, all-knowing one man who knows when it will be, is going to be a very interesting year and probably very difficult year for many people, as we're expecting some big changes and in terms of taxation in the country. But will we see what many have been calling for, that the taxation be balanced in a way that those who can afford to pay more are required to pay more, and not just across the board like what we've been doing. But we will see. All right, so he's saying some interesting things there, as we said, and let's get your views on it all, folks. Already text messages coming in noting that a lot of what the Prime Minister said yesterday, jokes and this jovial, what was that? I mean, we are in a serious crisis right now, right?
They're doing their best to try to keep it like light, like we're okay. But the average Bahamian is not okay, and they recognize that the state of this country is not okay. And so to strike a tone or a posture as if, hey, we're good, we have this under control, that's not working for anyone.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
That and the report, the last report with Chester Cooper, I know it was cut, but he gave like a laundry list of things under the lack of transparency. Mm-hmm. The Dorian funds was just the tip of the iceberg. He went back with Reagan Island and the Irma funds. He talked about the fact that the government has yet to bring to the House the money that has been spent during this pandemic. He gave a laundry list of things. Mm-hmm. And here we are.
All right, so let's hear from you folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Usually the Prime Minister comes up at the end of the whole thing to wrap things up. Maybe we might get a more serious tone then, sure. But what do you make of it? That's how it usually is. I don't know what's going to be the case here.
I don't know so much if it's a serious tone that people want. They want information. Let's get into the heart, the meat of this budget, highlighting all of the incentives that you're proposing to give to the Bahamian people. Great. But what is it going to cost us? What is it costing us on the back end?
Yeah.
Because it isn't for free.
Right. You're already challenged with revenue. Yes, it sounds great, but when the duties are already pretty high on some of these things that you're going to be exempting VAT on, is it going to make much of a difference? And vice versa. We see that we've got a lot of things that are duty free, but the VAT's still on it, and they probably won't qualify for the VAT holiday with hurricane supplies, right? I mean, there's so many things. That sounds great, but what benefit? How much will this benefit anybody, and will you even hurt yourselves with this?
Right. That's the thing. You have these initiatives, and don't get me wrong. There are people out there who will benefit from a number of these initiatives, yes. But what is it costing the country? Yeah. Because you don't just create an initiative. You don't just create an incentive for new hires. If you hire new people, you don't just create that and then it doesn't cost you anything. It's going to cost the government, which means that it's going to cost us.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. You know what I need a VAT exemption on?
What?
I need my computer that was destroyed by what was likely a BPL surge. Yeah.
You don't need a VAT exemption. You need a reambrsement. You need a new computer.
Laverne, let's not talk nonsense now. That's not going to happen.
Oh, I went too far. I'm sorry.
But
let me put that back.
But I'm not. And I, at this point, knowing the situation we're in, I would feel kind of some sort of way for even asking for a VAT exemption.
Yeah.
Knowing that you all need every penny you get.
Don't ask.
Maybe you need my old pennies that I won't be able to redeem for currency directly. You can apparently only the weight value, even though we were promised that was going to happen. Correct me if I'm wrong, central bank. But hey, I can donate the pennies to the government to help with the revenue that you will.
You can sell the pennies. Someone sent me a clip where they're selling the Bahamian pennies. The older, the more the more money you can get for
Yeah,
it. So, you know.
Forward that to me, please. Okay. So let's hear from you folks. What do you make of this? What do you make of what we heard yesterday during day one of the debate? We'll get to your text messages in a bit, but let's go to the calls. Again, you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
All right, Dwight, let me tell you something. I'm so upset this morning. Morning to your guests, too.
Good morning.
Listen, Mr. Dr. Minister, let me tell you something, yeah? The two sides of them, after them and P, is a disgrace. You hear me? They in the House of Parliament talking about cookie jar, cookie monsters, who are thief, and thief what next? As a doctor, Dr. Minister is a disgrace. Because with $5-6 billion in 5 years and not even a toilet bowl to show for it, all of them should be whipped out of the House of Parliament. Let me tell you something. I want you to bear me for 2 minutes. I attend the dialysis unit 3 times a week. Hundreds of patients. Let me tell you something. That hospital is a disgrace. You hear me, Dwight? Those nurses are overworked, underpaid, stretched out from 5 a.m. in the morning till 12 p.m. 6 days a week with hundreds of patients, no supplies hardly, new chairs that are assigned to the unit. We ain't see the new chairs yet. Let me, Dr. Minnis in the hospital talking, in the parliament talking stupid about cookie jar. I would like to just take this opportunity right now, get off, to thank those nurses who are in there, who is doing a mama's job with mega supplies. And that goes from Sister Roker, Sister Rackley, Nurse Feaster, Nurse Sweden, Nurse Smith, Nurse Ramin, Nurse Turnquest, Nurse Coakley, Nurse Toulousma, Nurse Hairburn, and Nurse Zonica. And those nurses have to cover 6 days a week, sometimes on Sunday.
Wow.
3 of those nurses, because of the boots those nurses were wearing, the boots with no skid on the bottom, 3 of those nurses then slip down and basically break their legs inside the dialysis unit. Because the boots they're giving them don't have the skid pads on them. Tell Dr. Listen, I want to say some other things, but Dwight, thanks for taking my call, yeah?
I hear you. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. Oh, boy, that's rough to hear.
Yeah.
Rough to hear.
And herein lies part of the problem. You can go in the house and you can wax poetic and list all these things, but if people aren't feeling this, if they aren't experiencing these things that you're talking about, then there's no appreciation for it.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take another call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Glenn. When I say good morning, Glenn, I mean both of you. Morning,
Yes,
Glenn.
that's fine.
Good morning.
I often take my kids, when weather permitting, to the park, and I like to watch them on the seesaw. And, you know, what happens yesterday remind me of the PLP on one end of the seesaw and the F&M on the other, and we just, one go up, the next go down, one go up, the next go down, and this is what we've been doing for the past maybe 50 years, up and down. I want the Bahamians to look closely at what's going on in Israel. They're forming a coalition to get rid of the poison that they've been suffering from, this war all the time. Bahamians, let's come together, form a coalition, and get rid of both PLP and F&M, or else we'll be on the seesaw forever. That's really all I want to say. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's read some of your messages here. Let me see. Take that call. And then, okay, take the call and then we'll get to the messages. Nope, that was okay. Here we go. These can I say this anyway? These jokers can't even pay us this little $200 from last Friday, Dwight. We can't even eat cookies if we wanted to. So shut up, PM. Yeah, a lot of people can't afford cookies. A lot of people. Boy. This one says, we need to see how much we can grow this economy, and the Minister of Finance spends his time in the House talking about cookie jars. Hashtag we are in trouble. Mm-hmm. This one says, they'll increase fees, then one of your hosts will do another word parsing exercise to convince us that taxes didn't increase. These are fees. A fee is not a tax. Yeah, who does that one? Parsing words and as we get poor. Okay. Well. This one says, tough decisions like civil service salary cuts and tax increases. I doubt you'd see the civil service salary cuts, but probably no hires. Definitely. Although we've been told that many times before, and that That doesn't change anything, right? But taxes on you and me, though. For sure. For sure.
That's a guarantee.
Yeah, that one. Anyway, they go on to say, I guess a lot will have to go to court for property tax when the rich have tax-free residents. Get someone from property tax and ask them to tell the public what buildings are property tax-free and are valued over $250,000. Yeah. Anyway, Okay. This one says here, while reasonable people can see what this administration is doing wrong, their base is primed to accept any excuse from this administration. They are unable to critically analyze this government. When you hear people saying they are suffering, but they would suffer more under someone else, they will accept anything. I think you get it from both sides. You get it from everybody. Yeah. Politics is like the brightest light in the world, apparently. It's blinding everybody. And you could flog them every day at noon for 5 hours, and it's like, buddy, yeah. Okay. I think that is happening. That is happening now, isn't it? And some of us didn't vote for some. Anyway, do businesses have to reprogram their prices for 1 or 2 VAT holidays? No. I mean, remember, I can't answer that one. But it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated.
No, because, because of the hurricane, there's some things that are still, the way that they calculate it in the business, they just maybe ring it up separately.
Yeah.
But
right.
I don't know if they have to.
And we still don't know what will qualify for this.
Right.
For this one. Maybe things that hardly ever move off the shelf.
Half an aisle of
the stuff that never sells.
Right. Make those factors.
That will be. Yeah. Okay, this one, it's always funny when I hear the PLP talk about transparency when they chair the Public Accounts Committee and have the power to Chester listed. Now, having the power, I'm just going to stop right there. Having the power to investigate does mean you'll get the answers, right? And that has been a challenge in this country, right? Or the cooperation, even. But let me continue with the text. So why haven't they? Why play these games? If you're lackadaisical in opposition, what can we expect in governance? I'm sick of them all. Yeah, okay. We just mentioned what some of the issues are. This one says, I'm so happy to hear this caller address the PMH issue. Too many people suffer not because of the medical team alone, but the inadequacy of the facility. These are the things that need attention. Needless to say, I'm sick of them all. All right, to the person calling the text line, that is only for text messages. If you want to call in, call 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And this one here, Dwight, this is hilarious. Dr. Minnis so much, you discredit Dr. Minnis every day.
Oh, Lord.
Wow, okay. What's the dollar amount on the check that Drew received from Chester Cooper? That is the funniest joke in history. I'm sure my PLP friends will say, what's that person smoking? Did they pass the marijuana bill already? You are very funny, Texter.
Why do we need to have a conversation about this?
I don't know what's going on, but everybody hears what they want to hear. And I don't know what happens when it gets out of my mouth and gets out into the airwaves.
Lost in translation.
Well, it depends on where you are on the divide. So certain people hear certain things. I could say the cat is blue and Minnis is the greatest, or Minnis is the devil. That's what certain people hear. It's crazy. Anyway, whatever. Get some help, though, Texter. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
One of my best Obama. Dwight, you know something? I don't sugarcoat. Now, who run these ministries, Dwight?
Who, what, sorry?
Who run the ministries? All the ministries. Who run the ministries? Who in charge of the ministries? Just answer to me so I can make a statement to the gentleman who called complaining about this and that with the hospital.
It's very debatable. It's debatable. It's debatable.
Administrators, right?
Well,
I mean, they blame the government for everything.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Hold on. Listen to me. The government's job is to go there and put legislation in power so that the people who, before they carry out the legislation, the hospital have administrators. All right? I mean, I hate to hear people complain about every disgrace thing. The the country is broke. Can you see that? The country is broke. Everybody won't get paid, or need to be paid, But we go raise tax and do these other things to give you all this and all that. I know the opposition job is to make the government look bad. So I don't worry about what the PLP say. When they inside, they can see everything. But when they inside, they can't see nothing. Look to me as if they get blind. If the government gets beat right now, the PS still run those ministries. Stop complaining, stop being petty.
No.
When you go to hospital, whatever.
JJ, you know that's not how it works. And then that's not how it works. You know that's not how it works. Some things, but that not like that. I mean, that's budget and allocations and that the priority. It doesn't work like that. And so the minister and the government can really make a huge difference when it comes to how these hospitals work. That's why in the communication we heard the Prime Minister talk about how much money is going to be allocated to fix PMH and the RAND.
But listen to me, Dwight.
But again, this is after all these years.
If I go to hospital for anything, I go pay what I afford to pay, Many people what they want everything free. They don't refuse to pay bills, refuse to license their cars, refuse to do all kind of things. And at the end of the day, everything is government. Man, do I pay
Okay, now that's a different story.
Country,
that's a different story. That's different from what you were saying earlier. And that also has to be addressed.
You cannot blame the government for the women bad on bad boots. When the guys are building roads, right, there's plenty things that our engineers are tell the people, nobody, they can't block us where they got to go. CPP got people in service, but who's scary? Who's scared to do their job, right? That's why we need to put strong people in the service and who can do their jobs, right? Because we must just people in the service, man. Thanks, take my call, brother.
Okay. Oh, my. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, good morning.
Dwight Strachan, your show losing ratings because you have them bias.
You really are a ridiculous person, Dave. Really ridiculous. How are you getting it? He put on a woman again? Yeah, okay. So whoever controls Dave, right? The puppet master person, please, you need another way to deal with this. Let's try to be... boy. All right, so you heard that, though. You heard that nonsense. So the F&M bias of this show and myself is showing through to the silly texter who said, right. So all of you need help. All of you people. You diehard F&Ms and you diehard PLPs, seek counseling. It was just Mental Health Awareness Month, and you both missed it, I guess. But get help. We're trying to have sensible conversations here. We're calling out the foolishness from both organizations when we see it, and we will applaud you when you do well. Unfortunately, recently, there hasn't been much of the latter. But when we see it, we will call it out. So if you get hurt today, then that's because you're not doing well. I don't care about any of these. I voted for both of them, and it's gotten me nowhere. The promises are forgotten from the moment they take that oath. So all of you need to grow up. We're trying to get this country to where it should be. Save your political stuff. I don't know. Call another show later or another station. But let's move on from this, okay? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And good morning, Miss Gardner.
Morning.
Yeah, Dwight, I like your attitude this morning, right? Because what you're saying is is true and factual, right? Both of these administration continue to play games with the Bahamian people, and they have puppets like those CM2 callers, what we just called. I was very disappointed with one of them, but at the end of the day, all of us know that servants run nothing in the Bahamas government. They only have a job, right? And if the Parliament or the Cabinet don't make a decision, no permanent secretary could make no mistake to go try to do nothing without consulting a minister. We know this. But see, the politics in this country, it stinks straight up to the head, and this is why we have so much people, like our callers, was only defending the party, and they would not defend this Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Right.
We don't need to defend no parties, right? Because if all of these parties go and we never see them no more, we still will be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Who is defending that? Nobody.
Yep.
Very
right.
So be encouraged, right? Because you're on target, man.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. All right. Oliver, what's happening today? I'm going to need 2 holidays. I have to take Monday off, too.
You have to take Monday off as well. People and everybody or whomever you want to support, But we also have to be able to have honest dialogue and call a spade when we see it. And, it's like you said, not every time everything is going to be beautiful and roses with a particular party. And you have to be able to recognize that, acknowledge that. And it's like I think I told you yesterday, we struggle to have these real, honest discourse. It always goes into, oh, it's because you dislike this one, or you like this one, or you're biased about this one.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And it's
Crazy
getting
stuff.
us nowhere. It
Absolutely.
really is getting us nowhere.
Right. People are dismissing you because you criticized somebody one time, then so you must be a POP, you must be an F&M.
How about he must be a Bahamian who is concerned with the state that his country is in?
No. No.
How
Wild
about
stuff. No, apparently that's not a thing. That's not a thing. Yeah. Dare we take these calls? Yeah, let's take them really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on there. Are you there? Yep. Are you there calling in to put on your voice, and then you're going to change to get somebody else to speak for you? Good morning, caller. Are you there? Okay, let's take this one. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight and Mrs. Gardner. How y'all doing?
Hey, we are here.
Good morning.
Excellent. Okay, so getting into the discussion from Parliament yesterday, in particular, a lot of the facts that did not make the airwaves, I'll just list some of them, Dwight, from our Shadow Minister of Finance.
But we heard that already, though, Anton.
So, no. But what I will list is with some of the facts.
But let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. We don't need to hear what...
This is from me because these are points that I've been carrying over the last year and 3 months of the pandemic. All right.
Okay.
And so pretty much these points that I've already been putting out there. So I'm just going to summarize them. Right. There's been an increase in the Town Center Mall deal of 1.
Okay. No, we can't do that though. We are really running out of time. So you got to tell us something new. What you heard yesterday that bothered you. We don't need to hear. We don't need to hear.
Dwight. We have new loan facilities from the IMF, right, as well as from the World Bank. And we have no idea about the details or what the government has given away or agreed to give away in order to ascertain those loans, right? Because there is no reporting, right? We have a fiscal responsibility council that's supposed to be responsible for telling the Bahamian people, telling the Parliament, the Bahamian people about the economic condition of our country and the true economic condition of our country. And they are legally binding to report, and they have not been permitted to report, and their report is well overdue. Right? We have a situation about $200 million has been spent in pandemic contracts, and we have no idea who got these contracts, how these contracts were given out, and if we got value for money based on the contracts that were spent, almost $200 million. Right? We have a situation where, for instance, in Abaco and on Grand Bahama, 250 domes, millions of Bahamian taxpayer dollars, Dwight, was paid out for 250 domes, right? Only 84 domes were constructed, and people are still living outside in cars, on beaches, etc., can't get their lives to see some level of normalcy. And millions of dollars, Bahamian taxpayer dollars, was already paid out as a result of funds. We have a situation where there has been no reporting on the millions of dollars that was donated by NGOs in order to aid the government in its recovery of people's lives and infrastructure on Abaco and on Grand Bahama, and there's no talk about it from the Prime Minister. We have a situation where there's been a firing of the entire board almost. A very competent chairman, one of the leading financial minds in our country.
Yeah,
right.
All right. We remember that. We gotta go. That's a lot. We remember all of those things, and yes, there's a lot they have to answer. Many investigations that we heard they're looking into. We don't know where they stand. Those are from going back as many as 4 years. And you're right. We do need answers. Let's read these text messages, and then we'll take a break. This one says, to answer your question, Dwight, it's not what you say, it's what kind of political earmuffs the listeners are wearing. Don't mind the conks. Keep doing what you're doing. And this is from an F&M. Okay. All right. More messages here. Dwight, the PLP is not the government. It's blame. What? What does that mean? This one says... Regarding Dr. Mrs. joking in the House of Assembly about the PLP in the next election vote to protect the cookie jar, I get his point. That issue was the principal issue in the last election that saw the PLP fired. Yeah, we understand where it's coming from. We do. Everyone knows you are a PLP. Watch how long Anton gets to spin his... Oh, dear Lord. As this one is JJ, the new F&M Anton. Okay, I told you already. Let's not send a million text messages talking about the callers. I applaud them for calling in, except for Dave, right? But they have the right to express themselves. So come on now. Let's go. The PM is not an accountant. As the Minister of Finance, he continues to borrow a lot of it. That has nothing to do with it. And that's one thing that JJ got right. That's where you get the civil servants. That's where they have, right? They're doing the math in the back room and that kind of stuff. So that's not how that works. This one here, I must address these idiots who keep saying Bahamians don't like to pay. We have a financial system. Our system rewards value extraction activities and punishes value creation activities. People don't pay because the system is designed to prevent them from being able to pay. Okay, let's process that as we go to the break. We'll read more of these messages when we get back. This is giving new meaning to labor, Laverne, on this Labor Day Eve. I feel like I've been in the gym. We're going to take a break and be back. Stay with us.
But when you're trying to excel yourself, they got your name everywhere. Because dog don't back at Baka, no way. Come on. The only time we can start backing is when the car start moving. Huh. Hey, I say, dog don't back at Baka, no way. Boy, she thinks she better than people. The only time we can start backing when the car start moving. That's true, but people do, you know.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Coronavirus update. I'm Ben Thomas with an AP News Minute. Preliminary research suggests some COVID vaccines may offer lasting protection, reducing the need for Jackie Quinn.
Scientists say it's early, but evidence is mounting that immunity from the mRNA vaccines, the type made by Pfizer and Moderna, don't depend exclusively on antibodies, which can dwindle over time. The body has overlapping layers of protection that can offer backup. Researchers are still trying to determine the level below which antibodies can no longer fend off the coronavirus without help, and they warn the variants could change their findings.
Michigan is lifting many virus restrictions, including the 11 p.m. closing time for bars. Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
This is the last turn of the dial, and we'll get to July 1st, and we'll be able to drop protocols, and every day we're making progress, and there's reason to feel better every single day about where we're at.
I'm Ben Thomas.
$7:39, time for your first look at traffic. The Royal Bank. Here's what's happening. We've got Smile Butler Highway. Heavy traffic, as usual, the northbound lanes heading towards Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway. And we're also seeing traffic backed up on Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway as well, westbound to that roundabout with Smile Butler Highway. Gladstone Road also busy this morning, the northbound lane heading towards JFK Drive. We're seeing the traffic building on Carmichael Road, especially westbound at the moment, towards Coral Harbor Road. Elsewhere, so far, just a little bit on Prince Charles Drive at the intersections, the major intersections along Prince Charles Drive. You're going to be seeing some traffic there. And Soldier Road is your approach Windsor Place, eastbound mainly. So that's what we're looking at so far. We'll have another real-time report for you just after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Glen Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined. And it's 7:40, time for another check of your weather for today. We'll continue to gradually usher in drier conditions along with moderate to fresh winds across the country through tonight. Boaters and residents should continue to exercise caution. Look out for waterspouts and tornado activity. Beachgoers should exercise caution at East Coast beaches due to risk of rip currents. And there is potential for flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas during prolonged rainfall today. For all areas today, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with widely scattered showers and the chance of a few isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Smoke-craft caution remains in effect in the central and southeast Bahamas. Look for temperatures getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. Currently in Nassau, it's about 79 degrees under partly cloudy skies. In Freeport, it's about 75 right now. In your extended outlook as we head into the holiday weekend, high-pressure ridging will continue building north of the islands, maintaining moderate to fresh east to southeasterly winds. For Friday, Labor Day, look for sea conditions mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas with a few isolated showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. Saturday, partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with a few stray showers. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation unexpected during the next 5 days. That's your morning blend weather check. Weather check brought to you by Rev Cable Bahamas. Basketball fans, the NBA and the playoffs very hot right now. You need to sign up or upgrade to Rev Trio and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free. Call 601-8992 or email trio@cablebahamas.com to sign up. Rev, you and us together.
Digital banking, online, RBC. RBC banking, online, pay your bills anytime.
RBC Digital Banking is so easy. Granny and Granddad can do it. Sign up for online banking or download the RBC Caribbean app.
With RBC, it's safe and easy. Send your money hassle-free.
RBC/Caribbean/bank at home. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details. Post your pictures with # for winning details.
Meet Jackie. Jackie's a hard worker with a steady income, but she has a personal loan and multiple credit cards to pay off. To keep her account current, Jackie opted for a loan from Fidelity Bank to consolidate her debt into one monthly payment and earn interest on a built-in savings account. Be like Jackie. Call 356-7764 to book a complimentary financial coaching session. Fidelity also offers virtual assistance. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best.
Believe in best.
Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean. Do you want a card that does more? First Caribbean Visa Debit Card allows you to shop locally, online, and internationally with funds directly from your linked savings or checking account. Visit CIBCFCIB.com to learn more today. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come home. Just a little bit, hey, baby, just a little bit. Just a little bit, mister, just a little bit. I ain't gonna do you wrong. Why you gone? I ain't gonna do you wrong.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner and Respect. RESPECT. That's all that Fort Charlotte MP Mark Humes is asking for after, that was a real diss, as they say.
But can I tell you, I have been waiting for this song. I'm like, this has to be played.
Oh, that was awful. Awful what we heard in the House yesterday. If you don't know what we're talking about, take a listen to this report from our Taylor Ferguson.
Fort Charlotte MP Mark Humes calling on Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis to show him some respect in the House of Assembly this morning. This after the Prime Minister referred to Free National Movement candidate Drumiko Archer as the next Member of Parliament for the constituency Humes now represents.
I call the next Member of Parliament Drumiko Archer. I think as the current Member of Parliament sits here in the House of Assembly, the duly elected, honestly deselected Member of Parliament sits here. I think it's quite disrespectful that my party would speak to the next, refer to him as the next Member of Parliament. There's no guarantee. The people still have a say in that matter.
The Fort Charlotte MP says not only was he unceremoniously dumped by the FNM, he's also being disrespected by the party.
But I wouldn't ask for it to be stricken from the record. I would just ask for more respect for the current sitting Member of Parliament until such time as I graciously decide that I'm going to move aside, if that's what I'm going to do.
Minnis said he meant no disrespect towards Humes. Archer was ratified as the FNM candidate for Fort Charlotte in April. 3 men charged in the magistrate's court today.
All right, our Taylor Ferguson with that report there. Yeah. So, you can expect that kind of the person from another party, right? And they will say those things about their own candidate, right, for the next election. But your own party, and as Mark Humes put it, after you've been unceremoniously deselected,
right?
That is a very, that's a blow. That's a blow.
Of course. That's what they do. When I say they, I mean if you have someone who you put forth for a particular constituency, that's their way, I guess, of saying that they have confidence in the person. So they say the next Member of Parliament. The only issue with that is that you have a Member of Parliament already there.
For your own party. For your own party.
At least from your own party. And it's clear that it wasn't his choice. So you're adding further salt to the wound.
I think it's acid, actually.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm. That's terrible. But you know what? Let this serve as a cautionary tale. I wish we had some. Maybe we should play the respect song underneath what I'm going to say, producer. Cautionary tale to all of you very excited first-time candidates, nominees out there. You know, you're wearing your party colors. Please know that they are only using you. They are only using you. You make up they're hoping that you'll help to make up the numbers. And when you start to speak your mind or don't agree with everything they do, you too will be unceremoniously dumped and deselected from whatever it is they selected you for or nominated you for. Just keep that in mind.
That's very cynical of you.
Is it? I speak the truth. I speak the truth. This is how it works. We've seen it every single year. Every time, new fresh blood in our yeah. And within a year, the sour taste is everywhere. And the bitter feelings permeate the air. And just keep that in mind while you're out there so excited about, election day and how you are here to change the country. Yeah, you might be. That might be your intention. But just remember that you are a cog in the wheel of this political machine. And do you even matter at all? Okay. This is what they do. All of them. Keep that in mind. Just a message from me to you. Let's take these calls. What did you make of that yesterday? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. This is not about that, but this is something very, very quick. I'm going to take my second dose this morning at Church of God. And from last Friday up until now, we were supposed to receive funds to help us out. And this is the God's honest truth. Before every holiday, they never pay us our contributions, and we have to go through the long holiday without anything. Every time there's a holiday, they never pay us. The strange thing is this. Dwight, you have to believe this. I have $1 in my name right now. I am going to take a vaccine, and I don't have anything solid to eat. I am trying to help them to get myself vaccinated. I am not even working. I'm furloughed. I'm still following what they want us to do, but yet they can't pay me to buy something to eat after I take this dose. And I'm going to take it at 10:30. Honest to God, I have $1 in my name, and I hope that hold me. And I'm going to Church of God for 10:30. And I haven't gotten my funds yet from last Friday. So that's what I wanted to say.
Wow, that is terrible stuff.
And this is the truth. I have $1, Dwight.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm going to take my second dose, and I'm not even working. And they can't even pay us the $200, but yet they borrow $100 million. But from last Thursday, I can't even collect $200 to buy some food.
That is awful stuff. I don't know what to tell you. Hope everything. Wow, Laverne. Oh boy. Hey.
What can you say? And this is what I'm saying. You know, you're standing up. You're giving these addresses.
Yep.
You're talking about cookie jars. You're talking about this. But if the people aren't feeling it, touching it, experiencing it, it doesn't mean anything to them.
Yeah. Very, very sad. Well, I hope it works out. I really do. I hope that comes through today. My God, here.
Good morning, Mr. Strachan. How you doing?
Doing well.
And to your guests. What is the promise?
We know very well. A comfort to the fool. Yeah. But come on. I mean, what? That's. So what should we do? Should just don't listen to them? Don't speak then. What are we supposed to happen? You're isn't that what a resume is too? This is what I'm capable of doing here, and I can do this for you. So what? That's a comfort to the employer as well. I know I shouldn't have expected that.
The first 5 years was not your time. Now the next 5 years, you give me a chance. I will make sure.
Oh,
you will be straight.
Okay, so the first 5 years is for the people who gave me all the money for the campaign, and then I get to the real people. But we keep doing the 5 year cycles, so it's just the rich getting fixed?
Heavier.
Oh, well,
heavier.
Okay. Okay.
Church of God, he said that he's going to Church of God to take his vaccine.
Yes.
What Church of God is that?
I believe that's the. Is that the?
You don't know it.
Oh boy, I got to check the vaccine sites. I have the listing. I think it's Church of God of Prophecy, right? Is that the one on East Street? I believe it is.
I just wanted to know. I would have just popped there. And
all right, maybe he can call back and leave some information with the
something
producer.
in his hand, just because he touched my heart.
Yeah, that was.
You know what I mean?
heartbreaking.
I just put something in his hand so that he'll be okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Okay. All right. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Godly day, this is Strachan always along with you and your co-host. Sorry for this on this morning when you first started the show.
Oh yeah. Well then, some people sent some messages that riled me up.
Okay. I thought. Let me ask you a couple of questions. One, do you heard whether or not? Do you heard that they decided to put the vaccine on the people's tongue nowadays?
No. Why would they do that?
Say it again.
No, they have. No, I've not heard that. Okay.
Okay. Let me ask the other question. Have you heard that some of the authorities got some new information on the virus?
I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, we're learning new things about the vaccine and the virus every day. Okay. Okay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Strong.
Hi.
How you doing, man?
Well.
Listen, and good morning to Ms. Gardner. Dwight, the contributions in the House for the last couple of days, months, I guess, were so depressing. I long for the days when we could talk about those conspiratorial rats and dogs that used to fool with our garbage out there. That's what have you. But seriously, Mr. Strong, I just want to encourage the Bahamian people in this time to let's look within ourselves and see the good that we have within us and not just be carried away by party politics and the like, and see if we can spread some of that and share some of that with our fellow Bahamians. Also look without us and see the greatness of the universe and the world and see if we can bring a lot of that to bear within our own communities and the like so that, we can have a better Bahamas, irrespective of these nonsensical politicians. Let's not drag in the mud and the muck of just carrying a color. Let's not be dragged into the degradation of being just a diehard this or that has no real value in the long run. Because they've all failed us. They've all let us down. So we just need to look within ourselves to see the greatness that we have in us. Look without ourselves and see our brothers and sisters for the good that they have within them. And let's just try to build a Bahamas that we know we can have, irrespective of these jackleg hoodlums that we have in our parliament.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Strong.
Okay. Well,
listen, God bless you, man.
Same to you.
God bless Guardian Radio. Right?
Thank you very much. You sound like a preacher today, except for the last part. But that was, that was inspiring. That was inspiring, definitely. Let's take this final call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, listen, man. The process is this, if an MP is not performing and his name comes up for, shall I say, re-election again, then if he has not performed, then this is the process that happen. So I understand when the Prime Minister had to apologize in that aspect, but what I'm talking about is that if you haven't performed in your constituency, then this is the result of it. See? That's the process. I'm from the Chippenham area, so the people feel like they want to move on with someone else, and that's a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Okay.
So that's all I have to say.
I hear you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
I'm sure some will say some people got a nomination who were also not performing, and they're wondering how that happened. But hey, that's how it is. That's how it is. Yeah. We're gonna take a break.
I'm saying, you have the right to choose who they want to confirm and ratify, and he's just saying, you don't
show
have
me some
to
respect.
Throw it in my face.
Exactly.
Every day.
Exactly. We're gonna be back after the news. Stay with us.
I don't wanna
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Now at 8:19, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got building high pressure that will gradually usher in drier conditions as we head into the weekend, along with moderate to fresh winds across the country through tonight. Boaters should exercise caution, look out for water spouts, and residents should be on alert for tornado activity. Beachgoers should exercise caution along East Coast beaches due to the risk of rip currents and the remains of flooding risk in low-lying and flood-prone areas during prolonged rainfall today. For all areas today, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with widely scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect in the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure ridging will continue to build north of the Bahamas, maintaining moderate to fresh east to southeasterly winds across the islands. So for tomorrow, Sarandal Fox Labor Day, look for partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy conditions, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas, and a few isolated showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. Breezy with a few stray showers. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us. And then your final brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, your real-time traffic. We've got some Smile Butler Highway, heavy traffic, but not looking as bad as normal. Not all the way up to Fire Trail, the northbound lanes there, but we are seeing the traffic build as you get closer to the roundabout with Tawny Williams Starling Highway. Tawny Williams Starling Highway also busy westbound heading towards that roundabout. Elsewhere, Gladstone Road is looking busy, northbound heading towards JFK Drive. And we've got Blue Hill Road north of Soldier Road, the northbound lanes there, getting busy, very busy actually, as you head towards Independence Drive. Independence Drive is backed up quite a ways, heading towards Blue Hill Road, almost to the roundabout with East-West Highway and East Street. So that's a hot spot for you this morning. We've got building traffic along Carmichael, especially westbound to Coral Harbor Road, and near that junction with Smile Butler Highway near Faith Avenue, and eastbound further as you get close to Blue Hill Road this morning. Other parts of the island, we've got Eastern Road, heavy traffic near Fox Hill, so that's just east of Fox Hill, San Souci up to Johnson Road, westbound lanes, and Bernard Road, westbound as well, and pockets along Prince Charles Drive at the major intersections. That's what we're looking at this morning, your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best. Believe in best.
Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean and enjoy the ease and convenience of using your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit and credit card to order items from your favorite delivery service. Stay in, order in, and use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to pay for your purchases. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
You in a community, but are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super fast fiber internet experience. More people in more places can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 1 new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details. Post your pictures with hashtag Atlantis Staycation for winning details.
This is Guardian Radio, Night News Smart Talk, all day.
Woman, can't you see? I gotta make it for
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Laverne Gardner. It is Labor Week here, our annual Labor Week series on Morning Blend, and we are wrapping it up this morning with the leaders. We've got both of them together. We've got the leaders of the two umbrella unions in the country. From the National Congress of Trade Unions, President Bernard Evans, and we've got from the Trade Union Congress, Obie Ferguson. Gentlemen, great to have you with us. Good morning. Good morning, Obie Ferguson. Got his mic unmuted? Yep, okay. All right, and Bernard right here in studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight, and good to be here. Good morning, Bahamas.
Same to you. Same to you. All right, so we had the Labor Minister, Dion Folks, on yesterday. Had an interesting conversation with him. We have a lot to talk to you all about. But let's just say this has been a rough year. We know this has been a very challenging period. Last year was scary, but I don't think anybody realized it was going to continue on for as long as it has, although some people suspected. But let's talk about just the state of the labor movement in the country after a year like what we've had. Bernard, you want to start us off with that?
I prefer, let me yield to myself.
You want to, okay, Obie Ferguson?
But I can't hear him, so the mic is at.
Obie, you got the mic sorted out?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me
yes.
now?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, fine.
All right, so let's start with you then. What's this year been like? This year of lockdown, shutdowns and furloughs and people being terminated. What impact has this had on the labor movement in the country?
Well, I think it's quite frankly, it is obvious. It is very conspicuous as to the impact the COVID-19 would have had on the workers. It's just incredible. And what's most damaging to the labor movement is the total disrespect that is permeated by the government organizations with respect to public corporations, unions, and with respect to just individual unions. It's just mind-boggling. It's very frustrating. So the outlook, certainly over the last year, has been very, very damaging.
All right, total disrespect in what regard? What are we talking about here?
Well, labor has always played a major role in the development and the coming into being of the Bahamas. So if there's a crisis, say, which is what we have now, I think most trade unions, including my colleague, President Evans, I think we would agree that the level of consultation, the level of involvement on a national level, because these are national issues, that's going to affect the very people that we represent. That's what we represent. So in order for us to do that properly, to be with the government, we have to be with the private sector, and we have to be there to discuss and put forward the views of the workers. That's critical. But that seemed to have been missing. And now there is an increased effort to disregard, as it were, the unions, the industrial agreements, for example, that exist within the public sector and the private sector are just disregarded, totally. So how could you move forward a nation if the people of that nation are left out of the decision-making process? And that is what's missing. And even though the economy probably will turn around, we will continue to have this kind of problem where there's a complete disrespect for working people. And that's a difficulty. Because if I don't respect you, or I don't think you have a role to play, I don't exist.
Yeah.
We represent, legally, we represent the workers of this country, and even those people who are not members of unions, I'm certain Mr. Evans would agree with me on this, that we represent them as well.
Yeah.
We set the tone for them. So it's a very dismal situation, very, very dismal. The minister, for example, let me make one point here on this. You had 700 and something people got terminated from Atlantis. Now, we have redundancy laws in the Bahamas, both legislative and judicial. We have a judicial ruling on it. The act is very clear. There's a process in the act when you decide to make someone redundant. Well, at least the Ministry of Labor, the Minister of Labor, and the Director of Labor, they ought to ensure that those procedures are followed. And if they're going to be disregarded for whatever reason, there ought to have been discussions with the apex bodies, the two apex bodies, at least, come to some arrangement so we can go back to our members and we can explain to our members why this is necessary. No, the minister came on the air, if I can remember, and he said he was given 1 day notice. Well, even if he's given 1 day notice, that's in violation of the law that he is responsible for, because the law says he ought to be given written notice at least 2 weeks. And in addition to that, X number of weeks notice, that wasn't done. Now, what the law also say, if you fail to do that, the workers are given by law an additional 6 weeks notice. Was that a part of the offer that was made to those workers?
Right.
The answer is no. So I'm saying, well, if you're not prepared to follow the law, the statute, you're not prepared to follow the ruling of the court, what do we say to the workers?
Wow.
And when you take industrial action, they say, oh, you want to destroy the country, you're being insensitive. That's not so.
All right, Obi.
We are not being informed.
Bernard Evans is in here nodding at everything you say. Tell us what you're thinking.
I totally agree with my senior, Mr. Ferguson. But I want to say and only add to that when the pandemic started at the beginning, we were contacted to be a part of a task force. I think I was on the immediate task force. Mr. Ferguson was invited to be on the economic task force, I believe, if that's the right word. But if one thing was proven to us as a labor community of representing workers, is that those of us who are part of organized labor, who was a part of a union, we seem to have fared better than those that were outside of the union.
Yeah.
So it only shows one thing, that workers in this country need some kind of protection. But the labor movement over the many, many years, spanning 79 years, has been able to champion and to get certain protections in place. But as Mr. Ferguson was alluding to, we have these protections in place. And we are trusting the government, for the most part, to uphold those protections. And when they are relaxed, it seems to be relaxing on the side of the employers. And so the workers are left holding the bag pretty much.
Right. So what do you say when maybe the government, others might say, well, hey, we are in unprecedented times. This is an emergency. So what was in place before we can't really hold that in?
Very good question. Very good question. If there's going to be a cessation on behalf of the government towards the employer, then those same commensurate to the same should be done for workers. If in fact you're saying that, okay, we're going to allow you to, for instance, in the case of Atlantis, and I really don't want to dwell on Atlantis too much, but if you're going to allow employers certain concessions, then you should speed up the release or the relief on the other side for workers.
Yeah.
The waiting periods, the law says that when you separate somebody, you ought to give them their remunerations promptly. There's nothing for me to come back to you for. I don't have to, you say, here, Mr. Evans, this is your letter of disengagement. Then here's everything I have for you. There should be nothing left for me to be dealing with you 2, 3, 4, 5 months later concerning my release. And so if there was some concession given, and throughout this whole debacle, I would say that we were always trying to say, you know what, please keep workers in mind that when you reduce their hours of work, when you reduce their income, understand that something need to fall in place, some kind of safety net need to be there to help them along the way. And if you notice the first 6 months, I believe, understanding that hours was going to be reduced, the lockdown, we made the point that, you know what, these banks still expecting certain payments.
Right.
And so there was some soft agreement where some payments were delayed and pushed back. We were trying to get the taxes not to follow, the interest not to follow over the same period. All right. And so some not to respect. And so let me just, I would like to set the tone because there is this misunderstanding. I said this earlier, I think last night, and I'm being asked again to repeat it. We, as a people, we started in 1942, I believe, as a people to rise against injustices in this country. Lives were lost. Families were damaged in 1942. Standing up against injustice in the country.
Talking about the
Yes,
riots,
and what's
Burma
called
riots.
Burma Road Riot. There's a clamoring call for that kind of demonstration or that kind of uprising again. It happened again in 1958 with the general strike. Again, when a people decide enough is enough, we somehow come together. It was during these times that we were allowed, we're not allowed, it was afforded us because of our unity to be able to foster in a number of legislations, the Employment Act, all of the industrial agreements that we were able to sign. And because of that, because of the union, we were able to usher in the greatest middle class in the Western Hemisphere outside of Canada and the United States, respectively. What we don't understand, I believe, in our own ignorance, we look at unions as a bygone, that it was a time you needed unions and today you don't need unions. But if we understand that unions are the gatekeepers for the middle class and union sustains the middle class, then every Bahamian, if they understood that, and every government who understands that, and every employer who understands that the middle class is the engine. In the middle class, you find persons who have the kind of access to start a small company or small business. Any economist will tell you that it's a small business that provides the majority of jobs. Hire a maid, pay high insurance, qualify for a good mortgage, could go to the food stores and pull up to the cashier and the cashier says your bill is $300, $400. This is the middle class. And everybody depends pretty much on the middle class. Once we erode or begin to disrespect unions, the gatekeepers, disrespect the gains, the protections, then you see what happened. The middle class started to shrink. And so the gaps get wider and wider. If we only knew that it is the middle class, and we should try to withhold the middle class, try to slip some up above the middle class into the higher tier, but also bring those from the bottom up into the middle class. But what we do, we demonize the unions, at least throw them off as an old adage that is no longer needed. Disrespect, as Obi said, not involving us in the discussion, when labor ought to be outside of Christmas should be the greatest greatest holiday celebration in this country. Because if
Mr. Evans, sorry. So how do we get this message out there? You know, because you said if we only knew. So how do we educate people?
That's some
Just
powerful stuff you're saying.
General, right? To understand and appreciate what the union is, what it does, the contributions it's made to build this country. How do we get that out there?
I believe it if only right now, if Mr. Strachan invited me on his show, I think yesterday or the day before. And if I'm sharing something with you now that some people, like they said to me last night, this is the first time they're hearing or the tying between the unions and the middle class and how important the union is. If today marks that day that we begin the dialogue and to change the narrative concerning unions, then let this be the day. And let it begin first with dialogue and have more discussions as we go forward. Mr. Strachan ought not to just call us on Labor Week. I hope going forward that this should be a monthly, could be bi-monthly discussion on how we fortify, continue to fortify and foster a tripartite relationship where you have government, employer, and employee representative coming to the table, because all of us are in this together as a country. All of us need to ensure that it is the worker, as our Constitution dictates, that every citizen in this country have a right to work, and decent work, not just a job, but a decent work. And every worker have a right to form themselves into a labor union. Understand that we're not the boogeyman. We are the ones, I hate to be repetitive here, and I hope you get the message, Bahamas. And if this is the origin of it, that we start now to look different at unions and what we represent and the kind of contributions that we have provided. Tomorrow morning, the person will get up not having to go to work. Those who have to go to work will be paid double time. That happens because unions negotiated it. And so a lot of times we take these things for granted. But slowly, the employers are engaging and spending a lot via budget in legal teams, trying to find ways to nip holes in the industrial relations, in the Employment Act, to take away benefits from workers. And so we have to stand on the wall and be guardians to say, you know something? Mr. Evans is right. Mr. Ferguson is right. We've been looking at this a little bit different. And so if the day begins that day, madam, for the question you asked, how do we change the dialogue? Let it be the day that we start sharing this information and showing the importance of standing together so we can lift the standard of living for all of us. The University of the Bahamas, and I hate to run on a little bit here, the University of the Bahamas recently, I think 3 weeks ago, did a survey, and I guess they had a lot of support from the Department of Statistics and other civic organizations, that says that the average or the livable wage in Nassau alone is at least $600 a week. $600 a week. We're not even halfway there with this minimum wage. And I'm not saying that we got to jump to whatever the livable wage is, but incrementally, we could find ways of getting there. It may take us 5, 10, 15 years, but obviously we can't expect for our brothers and sisters at the lower tier to try to make it on less than $1,000 a month and tell them to be on my job for 40 hours a week and you must live within your means and try to make it on that. You can't expect for that to continue. There will be a continuous cycle of borrowing and being waged under death and now it's borne on the entire population by way of taxes and civic and social assistance to try to help them to get out. But as long as we are exposed to the true problems in this country and what needs to happen, and putting labor under worker, and this title about labor and unions, I think that kind of separate us and saying the union, they this and they that, they're not doing this, they're not. But it's all of us together. We need to have that Burma Road kind of nature, that DNA. We need to have that general strike, not to say to tear down, but to really to build up and to say to level the playing field, that we need to now look out for each other, and we need to understand that living in this country is very, very difficult, and we can't afford it. If low-cost home, the average low-cost home mortgage is $1,100 a month, and that's pretty much may not even be the figure. It's probably higher than that. But if low-cost homes from the government is at least $1,100 a month, how could you mandate a wage that is less than $1,000 a month? That is ludicrous. That is sheer failure on all of us. But I think for us now, if this is a new revelation, let's just start a new dialogue. Let's change the narrative and say, you know what, we need to recreate the middle class again, and we need to fortify the middle class as we go forward. So for the next 60 years, and those who come up after me, as this is my last stand as president of the National Congress of Trade Unions during this Labor Week, I'm emboldening that the next generation will look at labor, the entire country will look at labor and those who represent labor in a different light.
Powerful words there, Bernard Evans. You're bringing me to tears, actually.
Really?
Some powerful stuff. We need to really reevaluate how we think about this stuff here. All right, we're talking with Bernard Evans and Obi Ferguson. This is our Labor Week here on Morning Blend. We're going to be back after the messages. Stay with us.
I gotta make it for you, and I gotta make it for me. Oh, sometimes it seems, girl, I'm neglecting you. Well, I love to spend more time. I got so many things to do. Oh,
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super-fast fiber internet experience. More people in more places can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super-fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to dealing with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
we're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined. RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, go out, say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details. Post your pictures with hashtag Atlantis Staycation for winning details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We are talking with Bernard Evans with the NCTU and Obi Ferguson with the TUC this morning. This is ahead of Labor Day, Randall Fox Labor Day tomorrow. And we're going to be talking with you throughout Morning Blend Business coming up in a few minutes. So we'll continue to look at some specific areas of concern. But I got to ask you about the Labor Day. We know last year we couldn't do anything with the pandemic, with the lockdowns, and but this year, will there be a parade, motorcade? What are we doing? What is the plan?
I would answer first, but I will let my senior finish it up.
Now,
yeah, I spoke with the.
Well, before you do that, I mean, Obi Ferguson, yesterday you sent me the route for a motorcade, right? So that is the plan. So where do we stand today? Bernard, you want to?
Mr. Ferguson, let me start first and you finish. I think you, right? Listen, I spoke with Mr. Commissioner of Police Paul Rowe last night with respect to our application for at least a motorcade, outlining the route beginning at the sports center and to be led by the police in the front, in the middle, and at the rear, so to ensure that we stick to the proposed route. The commissioner told me last night that he did not got approval. He did not receive approval, and so as we stand last night, he's admonishing me that we do not have approval. However, I said that please send something to us officially in writing so that I would know with respect to that. He said that there will be a meeting with his deputy in charge of road traffic. I think that's Stubbs, to meet with at least the TUC. And so with that, I let Obi join in and respond.
Mm-hmm. Where do things stand from your point of view, Obi Ferguson? Mike? Got that mic unmuted? Did we lose? Laverne, are you there too? Yep. Okay, now we got everybody. Did you hear that?
I'm here. I can hear him.
Okay.
I can hear Mr. Ferguson.
Oh, we couldn't. Okay, so can we go again, Obi Ferguson?
Yes. I first of all, as an attorney, I tend to obey and be guided by law. But we made a request as well. We think it's a very significant day for workers. We gave a commitment as to comply with the protocols. I can drive my car, for an example, through the Bahamas for the next 9 hours. I conduct myself and I drive my car in the manner that I'm expected to, and it doesn't create an issue for other road users. I don't see what offense you would have committed by a motorcade. I just find that difficult to understand, particularly at an important day like what I see, what we intend to have.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed on Paradise Island, they had a function there with over 3,000 people who gathered in a room. But the owner said that they've taken the vaccine and they're pleased with it, etc. But nobody would be on the road in this particular instance. They would be in their car, and they would be following the protocol. So I just find some of these things terribly offensive, and it's interfering with your basic constitutional rights. And why the commissioner, etc., and those will take until the morning before the event to say they're going to provide outriders. I just find that almost amazing. Where are we going to Bahamas? Where are we going in this country? When we get to Bahamians, there's lots of meetings. There's lots of discussions. When we get to foreigners in this country, they can do whatever they feel like doing, and there seems to be a relaxation of the law, etc. So, if there's an offense for driving on the street, I suspect the commissioner will do what he has to do and bring the charges. But it's Labor Day. It's one of the most significant days it's a public holiday. Workers have the right to move freely according to our Constitution. So I don't see why we have to go through this exercise. When they give permission for other people doing other things, it comes instantly. When we get to Bahamians, we have to have meetings and meetings and meetings and meetings. Nothing happens.
And again, this is stressing. This is not a parade. This is nobody marching. This is a motorcade. People in their vehicles. What's the big deal? Yeah.
So did the commissioner go into details as to what their concerns are, why there's a reluctance to give permission?
Well, certainly not to me. And I'm in charge of a group of workers. I'm not so certain they had a meeting with my colleague, Mr. Evans.
Obi,
what can possibly happen? Why he will not grant the permission?
What did he tell you?
I don't know.
But I was informed over by the commissioner, even like I said, even last night. He said that authority rests in the hands of the competent authority, who informed him pretty much that there would be no motorcade for Nassau. They would consider maybe the Family Islands. He didn't go in.
I don't get that.
He said the commissioner said pretty much it was up to the competent authority. He was seeking advice, and the competent authority pretty much told him that he was more inclined for the Family Islands, save for Andros, where they have the recent lockdown. So for Grand Baham and other islands, I guess. But he did not get approval for Nassau. But he did not go in depth as to what were the risks involved. In my brief discussion with the Prime Minister about it, asking him to please, and this going back prior to Mother's Day, asking him to please you'd have something official. The Prime Minister said that he was perhaps seeking advice, or alluded to the fact he was seeking advice from the medical task force, who was advising him on the risk involved. But the commissioner did not go in depth as to why we were denied, save for he did not get approval from the competent authority.
So it's possible things could change today.
We're hoping, and we're asking people like yourselves to appeal and help us too, that we don't say, I believe it's safe. Like Obi said, we suggested that everybody in their cars and practicing the protocols. And if the police want to be involved, they could lead the parade, be in between the parade, the vehicles, to ensure that we stick on the route. And when we end, we would all disperse and go our ways.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. But I also want to say that we wrote the Prime Minister directly, and we gave the Prime Minister an assurance that have been established, those protocols would be adhered to. So I don't see, I just wonder where are we going as a country, as a people? Why can't we, how could we approve other people doing things, and when we get a very historical, a very significant day, like Labor Day, even though there are those who felt as though that Labor Day was designed for the royal family, at least Labor Day is now recognizing the working people.
Yeah.
And we give an assurance, we are responsible people. At least I'm certain President Evans is responsible. I'm certain responsible. Our leaders are responsible. So what is the issue? We're not going to be intermingling, hugging one another, and doing all these sorts of things. The government has established protocols, which we accept. We are complying with it. So what is wrong with that? If I get wrong, that's all. As long as I don't block the road and interfere with other road users, what is the issue? No. As far as anything to do with working people in this country, we got a problem.
All right, we got to take a break. We're going to take a break. We'll get that motorcade route, just in case, after the break. And we're going to talk about some specific issues that have you both concerned. And what the future looks like, what we can expect over this next year. This is Morning Blend. Stay with us. We'll be back.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend. Welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. I'm Dwight Strachan. We've got Laverne Gardner with us from Grand Bahama. And we've got on this Labor Week, our Labor Week series continues, wrapping up with the presidents of the two umbrella unions in the country, Bernard Evans with the NCTU and Obie Ferguson with the TUC. And we've been having a great conversation this morning so far. All right, so we'll get back to the motorcade and the route in a bit, but let's talk about specific issues in the country right now that are getting your attention, that you were very concerned about. I know we had the labor minister on yesterday, and then we asked him about this. We're seeing more and more companies saying that they're going to be requiring their employees to get vaccinated and be fully vaccinated to be working. The labor minister says they are talking with their lawyers to see if this can indeed be done. Can you force people to take a vaccine that is not mandatory in the country, especially when you don't have enough vaccines for everybody? But anyway, let's get your views on all of this. Obie Ferguson, you're a lawyer. What do you make of this?
Well, there's just 2 points, if you permit me to. I just want to stress the important point here. The factors of production, as I understand it, is land, capital, and labor. In the Bahamas, the only two factors seem to be a focal point is land and capital.
Wow.
That's a fundamental problem in this country. Is that, if you don't know your history, you tend to repeat the past. Look, America. You see what they had to do? Over 100 years they went back to try to undo that. What was done wrong?
You're talking about
Our history.
Tulsa.
Our history.
Tulsa riots.
Our history is inextricably connected with the labor movement. And for some reason, I just find this almost disturbing. Who was Clementine Maynard? He was the president of the Public Service Union. Who was Livingston Coakley? He was the president of the Hotel Catering Workers Union. Who was Sir Clifford Allen? He was president of the Taxi Cab Union. Who was Alfie Maycock? The point I'm making, the first ministers in this government, the government of the Bahamas, came principally from the labor movement. But all of a sudden, we have moved to an extent where we don't recognize the role of labor. Who played a role in the women's suffrage movement? Where the Department of Labor came from? Who caused that to happen? Who allowed unions to even be registered? Now we get to the point, Labor Day, a very significant day. My God, for your history. If you don't know your history, who are you talking about? You see the President of the United States. He's encouraging workers to join the union and vote against Amazon, one of the largest conglomerates in the world. What is wrong with our people? We don't teach our students, our young people, what is going on. I asked a young man the other day, I said, who is Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield? He don't even know who Cecil Wallace Whitfield is. Student about to graduate. If you don't know your history, what are you doing? And you don't need to compromise. You don't need to compromise. And I want to make that point strong. Land, capital, and labor. Where are we? Where are we? Major project going downtown right now on the waterfront there. To what extent the Bahamian people are involved? And to what extent the workers are involved? No, we sit around and we are prepared to play politics to determine whether Bahamians should have a job. And the people we elect to put in office, what are they doing? They're the ones who are failing to do that which is required to maintain a civil society. I'm saying we got a problem. We got a serious problem. And if we don't deal with it, we will find out in short order what eventually is going to happen to this country. Land, capital, over 100,000 workers are out of work or hardly working. So what is happening? The mortgage is still in place, the car payment is still in place, in place. The children's school fees are still in place. What are we doing? Why didn't they go to the bank and ask the bank to do as the president of the NCTU indicated? Say, look, for the next 6 months, we're going to relax the payments for these poor people. No. They ought to work. Nothing has happened. And I have a problem. I have a problem as a leader of this situation. And as a lawyer, now they're talking about the minister is exploring what? The right to vaccinate? That's nonsense. You have fundamental constitutional rights, and people ought to be taught that. These young people coming up in the schools, they need to know their civil rights, the civic matters affect them. We have to get these things sorted out. Other than that, we will not have a Bahamas. All of us will be foreigners in the same land if we fail to do that which we're doing. Look what we're doing this morning, arguing over whether we can have a parade, a motorcade. That's absolute nonsense. That's from my standpoint.
All right, so what should workers who are being faced with this, who are being told, don't come back here or you're going to have to pay for the test yourself, what should you be doing if your employer tells you that?
The government should be involved and pay what it costs to assist these workers in doing what they have to do. But you can't fundamentally, I'm a Bahamian, I'm born here. I have rights in the Constitution. You can't come to me and say you're going to go to the courts to ask the courts or give the court permission to put vaccine in my body. You have to do what the president doing in the United States and other countries are doing. Explain to them, educate them, tell them what the consequences are if they fail to do it. Not one short deal. That's what we should be doing in this country. Education is the great engine for development. You can't do anything without education. You have to find a technique as to how you can inform the Bahamian public. Get them on board. They're willing to do it, but you have to explain to them because they're getting different things from different people. That's the role of any government in any country to look. The first obligation is your citizens. Other people fine, but the first obligation must be the citizens of your country. You can't go and come to me and tell me you want to vaccinate me. You could tell me, Mr. Ferguson, if you fail to do that, these are the possibilities, these are the consequences.
Well, they are doing that. They're saying that you could lose your job. Are they within their right to do that? Are they within their saying
do they have rights? How they can do that? How they can tell you you're going to lose your job? That must be a breach of your contract. You have that in your contract? Is that one of the reasons why you can terminate a worker? I know they have stealing, gross insubordination, and all those other infractions. We just can't make things up. We have to consider it. And the union plays a very important role, and the workers play a very important role. If that's going to be a factor that they now want to put into the law to make that a ground for justifiable termination, they can do it. But it has to be done in an orderly, in a structured way, having regard for the interests of the employer and having regard for the interests of the workers. It just can't be just capital and land. It has to be labor.
Bernard Evans,
so, Mr. Ferguson, do you think that the government just needs to come out and just make that statement to say, listen, no employer in this country has the right or is within their right to demand, to make it mandatory that their employees be vaccinated?
Yes, I think that should have happened. I made a public statement when I heard that. Mr. Scott out of Grand Bahama, who's heading a government agency down there, he took that position. I said, that got to be nonsense. But I got no formal position, as I am aware of, from the government, either denying it or approving it. I mean, these are policies, public policies that affect the public interest. You can't be threatening the worker. If you want to do those things, there is a process that you go about doing that. You meet with the unions, you meet with employers, you educate the people, and you explain to them, look, if you fail to do X, Y, and Z, this is the situation. But you can have an employer come from Timbuktu, and he says, well, if you don't take this injection,
It is unfortunate that government believe their hands are tied and they need to yield to major employers that maybe take up a significant amount of citizens in their employ. And so they let them get away with certain things. And we had said this about, 3 weeks ago, over a month, when some hoteliers were suggesting that members or their staff needs to be vaccinated. Otherwise, there was going to be a threat to their continued employment. But it is absolutely necessary, and it is imperative that the one thing this government should be able to do now is say no Bahamian, until it's law, should have to be victimized or their jobs threatened, their livelihoods threatened, if in fact they do not inject themselves with this vaccine. As I know now, I don't think 100% of the government, all parliamentarians, have taken the vaccine. I know that at least half of the medical faculty have not taken the vaccine. A lot, just like you said, a lot of people are listening to other sources, have not been satisfied. And so we should not allow any employer to be able to hand hold that carrot above us and say exactly. But it's the same as the way the competent authority is seemingly want to deny us a motorcade. They should come out bold and loud and say to all employers that you cannot threaten our citizens with job security if in fact you don't take this vaccine.
Let me ask you this. I know when we had discussions on the show immediately after the first time we heard from this, it was discussed that existing employees is going to be challenging to do that. But for anybody who is a new hire, that can be built into the contract. But do they have a right to build that in the contract that you need to be vaccinated for this if you're going to work here? Is that something we can do?
No,
you can't. Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, it's almost like saying, for an example, and this is no reflection on the particular disease or whatever. I mean, if you a fella who has AIDS or a young lady who has AIDS, you say if you have AIDS, you can't come to work. You can't get a job here. I mean, and anywhere in the world, in a civilized country, that is illegal. We just got difficulty doing things right for Bahamians. I just find it amazing. Oh, how could I come? That's the equivalent of saying I can walk in your house and do whatever I feel like doing. Matter of fact, it's a little worse than that, because if the medication has certain implication or certain effect on you, it can be fatal in some instances, and that's slightly different. But the point I am making, and I hope I'm making this point, look, when we get to Bahamians, man, we got to look after the interests of Bahamians. We can't allow the multinational or transnational corporations to come in the Bahamas and just change our whole life, the way we live, our history. You don't exist unless you have a history. I travel all over. The thing I do, I go look and see how the people lived in the Bahamas. What you doing now? What are we doing? You see what the president doing? They're offering a beer. They're trying to encourage the people to do it voluntarily.
All
That's
right.
what you do.
This is a good...
You don't bring those kind of archaic laws and try to impose it on the Bahamian workers.
Yep. This text here. Okay, so can my work institute a policy? Does the law allow for this? That will cost me money, as in you have to take the test every week. Is that a lawful thing to do here in this country?
Well, that can't be lawful because our present law don't provide for that type of situation. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to do it, it must be done properly. If you're going to do those kind of things, you can do anything within reason. But you can't just, tomorrow morning you have a new handbook and the handbook says X, Y, and Z. It's not done like that. The law don't recognize me or you. Simple. If you want it in the law, you put it in.
You can contradict any law. So whatever policy, you could try any policy, but once it doesn't, conflicts with any law, then it's just of no effect, you see. But I can't see why it is that the government is so silent on this matter. We just need to put that to rest, because what we will always eventually have is a domino effect. When one employer sees that this one get away with it, then why not me? Yeah. And so we just need to quickly nip it in the butt. But like you said, use some other means, provide more information so the public knows. Because you know how Bahamians go, you know how we go. We don't want to be no guinea pig. We want to see facts. And if there's liability, why not come out with the disclaimer and say, well, pretty much that if anybody's impacted by this 1 year, 10 years, 15 years from now, and it could be attributed to this vaccine, that the government will take control to ensure that you will be taken care of if it impacts your productive or your productivity or the ability for you to work and be productive. So we need those kind of disciplines.
Wow.
Ms. Evans,
Yes,
we
ma'am?
know that the government is encouraging citizens to be vaccinated. They want us to get to herd immunity. So do you think perhaps they're not saying anything, they're intentionally being silent, while we all know that it's not lawful to have employers make that mandatory, but if they can pressure the employees enough, then, you know, the objective of herd immunity is being reached. Do you think maybe that's why there's an intentional silence, that no one is really coming out and saying this is unlawful?
But to me personally, I think this administration has demonstrated that it has a problem with properly communicating, being available to answer questions, tough questions, whether it's from us or whether it's from the media. I think they don't avail themselves to a proper dialogue. And if we can have an open dialogue where people could ask the tough questions without fear, and if they need to bring in the experts and let them feel questions so we can understand what it is we're doing, then maybe we can make an informed decision. That's the best thing I believe any administration should be able to do. Try to avail your citizens to the best and all of the information. Let us probe and poke hole in it where we can. And then if we are satisfied, then we'll go ahead and take it. This is the world has become a global village, so to speak. And so now we have all kind of information that we could rely on, that we find to be true, and back it up with resources. And so for some politician, all right, to come and tell us something that we believe is suspect at best, then you're going to have this kind of negative pushback and feedback. And so the least they can do is to avail themselves, like I said, to allow the media, to allow persons to ask the tough questions, to ask for certain securities, all right, and not to be so silent on it, because silence kind of give like you're hiding something, and they may not be, but they seemingly, to me, they've demonstrated that they want to shy away from proper dialogue. And the one thing we need right now is proper dialogue and good dialogue, so we know exactly what's before us and what are the risks involved.
All right. We got to take a break. When we come back, a few more issues we want to talk about. We're getting some great text messages as well. We have not much time left, but we're going to talk about all these things when we get back. This is Morning Blend Business. We are talking with Bernard Evans with the NCTU and Obie Ferguson with the TUC on this Labor Day Eve, as tomorrow's Sir Randall Fox Labor Day in the Bahamas. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Morning Blend Business.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super-fast fiber internet experience. In more places, can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super-fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Here's what's happening, pledging to expand direct support for Bahamians in the vacation home market. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announcing that the government will make $2 million available through the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, to support those seeking to enter and capitalize on the growing segment of the tourism industry. Prime Minister says the vacation home market earned $14 million in March alone, benefiting 4,222 Bahamians. He said while thousands have already benefited, there is opportunity for thousands more to do so and more visitors to book short-term rental accommodations for extended stays. The Prime Minister also acknowledging that the Bahamas' financial services sector is shrinking due to global pressure. Speaking in the House yesterday, he said the offshore financial services sector, the number 2 industry in the country, has been shrinking due to a vastly different and more stringent global regulatory environment. He said that the economic situation in the country due to Hurricane Dorian and COVID-19, the service sector could take another hit soon as global tax watchdogs and the global superpowers look to impose a minimum corporate tax on corporations across the world. A Yahoo Finance article outlining U.S. President Joe Biden's tariff threat to Britain if it does not back a global corporate tax deal. The article stated that G7 countries will meet this month to discuss taxing tech giants. Read more about all these stories in today's Guardian Business section. Recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday in your market watch, your market movers, Consolidated Water up 2 cents, closing at $2.52. The Emira Incorporated up 6 cents, closing at $11.72. The BISX All Share Index closing at 1,951.31, up 0.12. That's your market watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. We're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We are talking with Obie Ferguson with the Trade Union Congress and Bernard Evans with the National Congress of Trade Unions on this eve of Sir Randall Fox Labor Day, which is tomorrow. And we're having a very spirited conversation this morning. All right, so it is budget time, and we've been hearing lots of talk about state-owned enterprises. And every year we are told these are burdens on our resources and the amount of money that we have to use to prop up some of these businesses, these corporations. And we heard Chester Cooper, the Shadow Minister for Finance, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, how tough times and big decisions have to be made, especially probably, in my words, after the election. And so many are speculating, what does that mean? Some are saying taxes, but many are saying that perhaps we need a right sizing of the civil service, that we need to do something about these state-owned enterprises. Let's talk about that, and that would mean a major hit on employment, employees in this country. Are we ready for that? Is that what is needed here? Is that the problem, the bloated civil service, or is it mismanagement? What is the deal, and what can we do?
I'll have to say it is mismanagement. whenever you
non-oversized civil service.
No, it's just mismanagement. I wouldn't say oversized because I think if we utilize our staff, we are understaffed in some areas and perhaps overstaffed in some areas. Okay, but I listening to you just highlighting some of the headline news and talking about the shrinking of the financial services. I was curious as to find out why these two islands, seemingly Singapore and the Cayman Islands, just our sister right to a couple hundred miles south of us, are growing. Aren't we all subject to this, whatever it is, financial laws, that the pressures from the G8 countries or whomever, but they seem to be more relaxed in the Cayman Islands or more relaxed in Singapore. Singapore and the Cayman Islands have been growing leaps and bounds. So what laws are they not adhering to that cause these billionaires and these Fortune 500 companies or personal wealth to want to go down to Cayman Islands? We once had it, but why we have to stand up and say, some kind of bulwark and say, well, we have to do certain things and causing ourselves, shooting ourselves in the foot, because the Cayman Islands is not doing it apparently, nor is Singapore. So why do we have to do it? We're still a Commonwealth country. The Queen still said that this is our government. All right, we still call all of our free land in this country the Crown land. So, isn't the Cayman Islands still a subject of the United Kingdom? Aren't we somewhat quasi subjects of the United Kingdom? So why do we have to adhere to certain financial laws that cause us so much stress? There was a time when the Bahamas was like the leading offshore financial centers in the Caribbean, and so we've lost our way. Similarly, want to adhere to certain laws, financial laws from other major countries. But I think that kind of more forensic intelligence need to go into that to find out what it is that Cayman Islands is being allowed to get away with, or Barbados, or Singapore, so that we can perhaps again redevelop that particular specter and section of our economy. So that's something we need to look at.
But to those who say we're not getting the value for the money with the civil service, that we need to sell them or shut them down, some of these state-owned enterprises, some of these corporations just need to go. What do you say to that? You've represented a couple of those. Of
course. Listen, there oftentimes there are certain things that should be private, and there's certain things that ought to be in state public. For instance, you want to privatize Ministry of Works, you want to privatize water and sewage, you want to privatize the hospital, you want to privatize telecommunications. Well, these privatizations has only proven one thing, pretty much, that instead of the monies staying in the country, the monies are paid outside the country for somebody else to benefit from. I believe, though, that we need more better ways of looking at the civil servant and see how best we could put the right people in the right places and try to stay away from political appointments as best we can. But again, this country is so small and almost a family orientation. But if you look at certain things, I believe if we do things differently going forward, for instance, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries ought not, far as I'm concerned, be located in New Providence. Why not Andros? Why not Andros? And then you develop a new economy centered around, inclusive of a portion of our agriculture being a part of the University of the Bahamas. And again, you kind of transfer and utilize these islands as best we can and not pile everything up in Nassau. These are things that we have been talked about for over 20-something years. Yes. But we seem somewhat stubborn to make these changes. And so I believe these are some of the things that we can do. But it is, if you look on the face of it, it does seem to be bloated. I am happy for those persons who have finally, after 10, 15 years, have been payable in pension. They've been working so long without having any kind of formal document to say that they're legit. And so they've been legitimized, and we're happy for those persons. But a more insight need to be looked into it, because like I've said before, you do have areas that are undermanned and some that are over. And I think if you kind of spread it out, you would have a balance. But certainly, any talk about putting people out of work is a no-no. Because I go back to the constitutional right that every citizen of the Bahamas deserves a right. And if a government can't find or create an atmosphere by which people can find work then they have no other choice but to take it on themselves. Either you take it on from a social aspect and have the Minister of Social Services grant free checks and grant concessions here and there, some kind of help, then you might as well pay somebody to do some work and get some production of a unit of work out of them, as opposed to sitting at home and collecting a check.
Mm-hmm.
So however you look at it, the government is have to fit this bill. So I'm not saying to pile up everybody in civil service. I understand the functionality. I understand the inefficiencies. We all understand that. But you could always find inefficiencies right here in any private sector. In any private entity, you're going to find inefficiencies. You can do things better. Okay? So I don't...
Well, that's interesting that you say that. Okay, so Obi Ferguson, I want you to get in on this too. So people will bring that up, that maybe it's something with the work ethic of Bahamians, and this is why we have to go and bring in so many people and get so many work permits. What do you say to people who say that? There's something wrong with the way we do
the only
things.
The only work permit I support, well, two. There are two work permits I would support. And let me get rid of the first one. If a Bahamian woman or a Bahamian man marries a foreigner and they are qualified, they're entitled to work if they're a Bahamian citizen. So if they need a work permit, then of course. If there is a work that needs to be done in this country, I have the expertise or the qualifications to do it, then I support bringing in that person. But at the same time, our policy should be, well, how often will we need this kind of work? Is this a one-off thing, or this is going to be a continuous thing? Because if it is continuous, well, let's put 1 or 2 or 3 persons to understudy this particular expert, this expertise that we need. And so 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long it takes, once we qualify a Bahamian or Bahamians to do that work, then we shake the hand of the person who came in for that particular work, and we say, thank you very much. But now we do have someone who can do this work.
I'm sure they'll be married to Bahamian by that time. And so, I don't know why I said that. Okay, so Obi Ferguson, so we asked the minister about this yesterday, about whether they're even though they're saying differently, that they are very actively and happy to accept the money for the work permits because it is a great revenue source. What do you think of that? Do you think that's true, that we're not going to see a change in the attitude here because they can make so much money, the government can make so much money from issuing work permits?
Yeah, quite frankly, prior to the Harrigan situation and prior to this situation, I was made to believe that at the time, we had approximately 31,000 Bahamians who were unemployed. And the information that I received, there were 30,000 work permits, approximately 30,000 work permits. So, you have, again, I go back to some basic stuff. What are we doing? I mean, could you imagine you have 21,000 unemployed and 30,000 work permits? Are you telling me Bahamians are not capable? If we can run a country, we can run the Ministry of Finance, and we can run all these different situations. Are you telling me that we are so, that we can't prepare our people to take those jobs? See, the first obligation a country, a government has is the citizens. That's simple. So if you don't want to prepare them and give them this superficial education that don't allow them to think, you don't develop them. I mean, there should be no discussion about national development in any real way unless it's a part of it. I mean, but in the Bahamas, you see an announcement, the minister will make an announcement, effective such and such a date, this is the procedure. Well, what happened to the people? We represent the people just like they represent people. We have the same constituents. So is the church. My members go to the same church, but they're members of the union. So if we build things together as we're supposed to do, most of the problems we have in this country will be reduced considerably. But in the Bahamas, we got a different philosophy. When the unions speak out, they're trying to destroy the country. But where did the country came from? You think we can destroy you think everyone's going to agree to destroy this country? That would never happen. That's not his thinking. You think I would do it? But no, you want to leave us out and it's about it. Oh, he's against the government. He's trying to unseat the government. Well, we ain't the workers' interests. You know what I told the workers on this Labor Day? You for me, I for you. You for me, I for you. I am not going to support you to destroy me.
Yeah.
I will not do that.
All right, we got some calls coming in. We got a lot of text messages. I want to get to those as well. Let's take this call, and we'll get to some of your text messages. You can call in as well, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi, good morning.
How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Beautiful Miss Gardner and your guests, Mr. Evans and Mr. Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson, I have a question for you, sir. I wish to know, I am very concerned with what I see happening in our nation. The nation is headed in under the leadership of Mr. Hubert Alexander Minnis. I wish to find out from you, sir. I wish to ask this question because I believe everything really stems from what we see happening from these emergency powers orders. As it relates to the furloughed workers who've been furloughed, many of them, for more than a year, as it relates to the lockdowns, the curfews for a year, are these emergency powers orders constitutional and lawful, sir? I wish to ask that question because I wish to also know, have you ever seen an Emergency Powers Act that was literally passed by our legislators, they say, in 1974, because the actual bill does not exist at the House of Assembly nor the Senate? I wish for you to please address that for me, please. And why is it, sir, also, that as an attorney, and I do respect you, why has an injunction not been put out in the Supreme of Mr. Hubert Alexander Minnis, who I refer to as a dictator respectfully? Wow. Thank you, sir. And you all need to continue and go on with that motorcade tomorrow because the Prime Minister, what he's doing is not right to the workers nor the people. Thank you, Mr. Strachan, for a good show.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Wow. That's a lot there. What say you, Obi Ferguson?
Yes, thank you. The first point I wish to make, we have the Employment Act, which governs the relationship between the employer, the employee, and the union. I think it's important for you as citizens, as trade union leaders, as workers, to ensure that these protocols that has been introduced, you have to ensure that they are indeed, you have to make sure that is in fact the case. Because a bill or an act has been passed by Parliament, Senate, and on to the Governor General, who would ascend that piece of legislation. You have to look and see whether it is gazetted. Because until and unless that legislation is gazetted, it has no legal effect. That's my understanding of it. Now, the government has introduced a lot of these provisions, which deals with redundancy, and every so often they extend it for a period, 6 months, 3 months, etc. But does that affect your fundamental rights? You are still employed. So the redundancy payments must be for the 31 years that you have been employed, or the 28 years that you have been employed, and not just this 6 months or 26 weeks, whatever they've been offering. Because, and this is what I'm saying, if you are an informed society, you need to tell the workers what's going on, or at least make it possible. If you fail to comply with the provisions and even what you introduce, it makes that termination unfair. So you're not only dealing now with the 6 months, Section 47 and Section 48 of the Employment Act. And what it says there, it says a worker is entitled where they were wrongfully or unfairly terminated, they are entitled to a maximum of 18 months pay if they are indeed someone who's not a manager.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a manager, you will be entitled to 24 months. But you have to now go back to the legislation. These, what I call temporary protocols. You have to look and do your examination of that to make sure it is happening.
Yeah.
I don't want to name the hotel because my colleague said he don't want to name Atlantis. But forgive me, I just named Atlantis. It seemed to me that the failure of them to pay the worker on the basis of the 6 weeks for failing to give the minister notice, that constitute a breach of the act. That then allowed that worker to bring a successful application to the court for unfair dismissal.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of giving them the 6 weeks or 6 months that they're paying them, they're actually entitled to 18 months, or alternatively, they're entitled to 24 months if they're managers. But I'm saying, where is the ministry department informing the Bahamian workers of these technical points that they need to know?
Right.
Because the minister said publicly that he was given 1 day notice. That in itself is a fundamental breach, and it takes the matter from Section 29 that they were relying on, or Section 26, it takes it on to Section 47 and Section 48, and that worker will be entitled to 18 months pay, plus the insurance, if they had it. And that is the kind of information an enlightened society is supposed to be given.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
The other parts of that question, I think we'll have to have a whole other show on that, but let's even get this question in very quickly, and then we need to take a break. Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Hey, Mr. Ferguson and Mr.
Yes.
Evans, good morning. I'm trying to find out if we should be expecting, Mr. Ferguson, just in case this country, we start forcing people to take the vaccine, like health workers, police officers, any workers who mightn't be a part of the union. Should we be expecting Mr. Ferguson and Mr. Evans them to do a collective body, a group of collective workers, them to go to court to maybe do some suing? And we have like 3 candidates for the Free National Movement running for the next general election. God willing, former presidents, different unions. Mr. Ferguson and Mr. Evans, can you all say anything about these people? Should the Bahamian people, should we elect these people like the director, Mr. John Pinder, former president?
I mean,
I'll hang up and listen.
well, I don't know if we do. Okay. The first part, are you going to be representing workers who find themselves in situations like that? What do you say to that part?
I have no difficulty. As a matter of fact, I'm in court now, testing the law with respect to that. But I have no difficulty as a labor lawyer and a trade unionist to work with Mr. Evans and the entire labor movement to see that workers' rights are protected. We have to protect the workers. I have no difficulty doing that.
All right, we've got a text here. Somebody saying, why haven't you all, as a trade union movement, come together and held press conferences to say that, you find what's happening here with the employers, this is wrong, and employers should not be forcing or coercing or mandating employees to do that? Why have we not heard from you all before now?
But if, obviously, the caller, I need to check. I've made it very, very clear publicly that when I saw the announcement about making it mandatory that this injection or virus injection be left in the hands of the employer, I made it abundantly clear in the paper, and I think most of the papers carried it, that is illegal and is against the law. But again, like I say, as a lawyer and a labor lawyer, at that, I am prepared to work with Mr. Evans and those who are desirous of us doing it to protect the interests of the Bahamian workers. That's very, very, very important.
Okay, we got to take a really quick break, and then we'll be back to wrap things up. You got final words, and this is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio. Stay with us.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Got your final check of weather as we head into the holiday weekend for your Sarandon Fox Labor Day. Today, we've got building high pressure that's going to continue to build, but usher in, along with moderate to fresh winds around the country through tonight. Boaters should be alert, though, for waterspouts, and residents should be alert for tornado activity. And beachgoers should exercise caution along East Coast beaches due to the risk of rip currents. And there is a potential for flooding in low-lying areas today. For all areas, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Temperatures getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high-pressure region will continue to build north of the islands, maintaining moderate to fresh east to southeasterly winds. So for Labor Day, Friday, tomorrow, look for partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy conditions, mainly in the central and southeastern islands with a few isolated showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. Saturday, partly cloudy to cloudy, breezy with a few stray showers. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Cash and Go. Cash and Go now has over 8,000 active users in their handy mobile wallet. No need to wait, just log on and get going with Cash and Go. All right, we've only got a couple minutes left here. This text here, the unions must accept some responsibility for their continued decline in influence. Many leaders continue to align themselves and their labor response along political lines. That caller trying to get you all to do that too. But let's talk about that. People saying that this is why what you complained about earlier. This is why this is happening, because so many are joining political organizations and running.
I will be the first to say that we have our share of responsibility, and we are reneged in some respects. We are a part of the society, and most organizations do have difficulties. The general election is every 5 years. For most unions, or perhaps all unions, this is every 3 years. And oftentimes, we are persons that are in the workplace, and oftentimes we are victimized once you are defeated as a union officer. Oftentimes there's some kind of fear against victimization from those same boss that you have to continue to work with. And so, yes, we have our challenges. I think for us it started pretty much when the TUC was the only Congress, and then we split some over 20 years ago, and now you have myself sitting as the president of the NTTUB. But for the last 4 years, Obi and myself, we've been working diligently trying to reunify and to come back as one, because we recognize that we were at our strongest and really cementing and fomenting a lot of progress for labor and all working people here in the Bahamas when we were one. And so we are people divided. But the labor movement is pretty much a microcosm of the entire Bahamas. We are all divided for whatever reason, whether it's along political lines, social lines, classism, or whatever. But we are trying to find the path of unity. And so we bear, and I bear witness that we bear some of this blame, but we're not going to stop fighting. As I move off the scene, pretty much Obi don't have too much time left himself in terms of not life-wise. So Obi, so I'm not speaking that on you, but I'm talking about being in front of labor. And so we're hopeful that God will raise another generation for the next 60 years of persons with passion, with zeal, to be able to stand up and speak on behalf of the Bahamian people. Mm-hmm. But since this is a closing, before I want to get this out, that we are all Bahamians. And like I said earlier when we first started this session, it all started for standing up in 1942. We all have certain or endowed with certain inalienable rights as human beings. We have a right to work, a decent livelihood, decent pay, what we now call minimum wage. We've talked about that before. As we go forward, we want to advance that so we could incrementally get to that point where people could afford, after staying on somebody's job 40 hours, that they have something to take home. We have to change the dialogue towards what union really means and to fortify again and to rebuild the middle class yet again. And not just rebuild it, but find ways to sustain it, because even the laws that we were able to hammer out are under attack every day and are being violated as we speak. Mm-hmm. And so we got to continue through education, through the NTC, the National Tripartite Council, which is a microcosm of the ILO itself, the International Labour Organization, that calls for labor, calls for the employer, and calls for government, which Obi alluded to earlier, as the three entities of the economy. And labor oftentimes have been left out, and labor oftentimes have been ridiculed and even subjected to whether or not we still need to. But more now than ever, we need to find a path of unity. Our unity is a proven model for our success. Anything that we have gained as a people, it came through our unity, whether it was Burma Road or what have you. And so I just want us to maintain that going forward for the next 60 years, that we need to continue the dialogue about labor, about the importance of labor, and the importance of building and sustaining the middle class.
Wonderful. Obi Ferguson, I know you have to go, but your final words really quickly, as we have about 30 seconds left.
30 seconds, right. I just want to encourage the Prime Minister to accede to our request to allow a peaceful surrender for Labor Day motorcade to take effect. We will comply, as I indicated to the Prime Minister in my letter, and we will comply with the protocols. We will do what has to be done to stay within what we think is absolutely essential, that we do something that is symbolic, something as significant as the motorcade. We call on the most honorable Prime Minister to use his influence and his authority to ensure that this 60th birthday for the workers be realized, and as many Bahamians to participate in it. Our adherence to the protocol.
Thank you so much. We've posted the route. Hopefully you get the permission. We've posted it on our Facebook page, Morning Glen Facebook page, and on our Twitter page, so you can find it there, folks. I'm sure we'll hear today whether you do get the permission for that, but you say it sounds like you just be driving around, so it should be fine. But again, Bernard Evans and Obi Ferguson, thank you all so much, and happy Sarandal Fox Labor Day to you and to all the workers in this country, to all of us, all of we.
Thank you, Obi.
We'll be rerunning this show tomorrow morning, so you can listen to it again. I think you should,
great.
right? So everybody have a safe holiday, and I'll be back live Monday morning with more Morning Glen and Morning Glen Business. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Eric Green next.